bird upon the wind. God damn it. Where's my drink? If I never try. Well, look who it is. It's the Tizamites. It's the Tizamites. Long time no see. Long time no speaky. How's it going? Gross. Do you take your bells out when you pee? My bells? What? My balls? My bells or my balls? Oh yeah, that's right, it's Mother's Day. We all gotta call Mom today. We all gotta call Mom, tell her we love her today. What do you mean no? What do you mean no, dude? Your mother birthed you. Pick up the phone. And this is your Mother's Day reminder to pick up the phone and call your mom and tell her you love her. If I can go to the cemetery, you can make the call, then go visit her grave, you ungrateful piece of shit. Don't be getting all pissy at me because your mom's dead. Go visit that grave. Why'd you get all pissy when I asked you what you thought of the Pet Sematary remake? I don't even remember getting pissy about it, dude. So, I don't know. I can't help you there. So you got to ask me that question in the moment, because if I cataloged everything I got pissy about every day, I'd have no room in my brain for any other fucking facts or figures, you know? I'm pissy all day, every day. Your mom was abusive. She still shat you out of her vagina. You still have her to thank for your existence. Be the bigger person. Call her up. Say hello. How's your day going? It's, I don't know. It's a day. I mean, it's pretty out here today, I guess. I'm trying to be positive. It's a very pretty day. Look at it. Sunny. There was a big storm last night. A great big thunderstorm. And then today, this morning, it's like a beautiful spring day with a nice breeze and like birds are chirping and stuff. I thought you would never do another stream after the last time. Why? What would make you think that you don't gotta call your mom if she was abusive, Imo? Oh, that's different. I got a different opinion. Got a different opinion. The autistic episode was awesome. That song you sang at the end was amazing. Oh yeah, yeah. The Tism-sode. It was a fun episode. I had fun doing it. Learning about the tistics. Did you see that the ACA slandered rationality rule? No. Are you talking about the ACA? Is that the Atheists of Austin or whatever? Why did you delete your last stream? What happened? It was just sucked. It was one of those streams where like I was not in the mood to stream, and a lot of times doing that makes a good stream, but in this case it didn't make a good stream. Everything that you guys were saying was pissing me off. Like I felt like everybody was just like every time I read a comment, I wished I hadn't, you know? And I feel like every time I zeroed in on a question or a conversational topic somebody had, it was based on something that was trending on Twitter. Just like, what do you think of the Sonic trailer? What do you think of this? What do you think? You know, and it was just literally like a list of the stupid crap that people are talking about to fill their empty fucking lives with. And I wasn't in the mood to talk about that. I'm hardly ever in the mood to talk about shit like that. And you know, doing a show like this, you're gonna get barraged with that because a lot of the people that watch me are denizens of the internet in a way that I'm not. But you know, I really try and actively avoid stupid topics because, you know, I mean, maybe not totally avoid stupid topics, but I try and avoid topics that I feel are devoid of any necessary discussion. To the best of my ability, you know, I try and do that. And coming here, it's almost impossible to do that. You know, you guys want to talk about things I don't necessarily give a fuck about. And doing this show is oftentimes, you know, based around making a compromise between, you know, the things that I find interesting and the things that you find interesting. I couldn't give a fuck less about Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, or the trailer. I mean, I've made fun of it. I saw it, I laughed about it, and then I'm done with it. It just seems like that when something like that happens, people can't just note it and go, heh, and then move on to something else. It's got to become like 3 or 4 weeks worth of topical conversation. And I didn't care at the beginning. You know, I didn't care when I first saw it. So it was one of those days. Yeah, I feel like I might be a little more prepared for it today, but if I'm not, then can always just end this and delete the stream again. I like the computer streams more. Yeah, so do I, but my internet here is dog shit. Like it's really my fault. I don't have my PC right now set up wired. It's wireless, and while it should be more than fucking stable enough to stream what I stream, it isn't. So the last couple of times that I've tried PC streams, it's been in and out. I've been dropping frames. I've, you know, made sure that it's not me. You know, I've looked at my settings in OBS to make sure I'm not pushing the bit rate too high or something, and it's totally like well within what my internet should be able to handle, but it's just not working out that way. So yeah, there was a big storm the last couple of days, so it might have been that too. That is something that happens down here when you have a really big like lightning or rainstorm in Louisiana. There's a good chance that your internet is going to be shit. So it could have been that, but I'm just tired of it. I need to get like a stable wired connection in there, move my modem in there, have the cable guy come out and switch my connection over to the coaxial in that room so I can just plug directly into my computer. If I do that, I've got a feeling that it'll help, but it might not. The internet down here sucks. Do you miss the Texas storms? That was my favorite part. They're very similar here. They're just Gulf storms, you know, like storms blowing in off the Gulf. So the storms here are very similar. Now, they're a little different. The inland storms I used to see in San Antonio were a little grander, I guess, than these. But they're pretty much the same storm. Get a really long Ethernet cable. I could do that. Although you do know that signals degrade over long Ethernet cables, right? Like there's a certain length. I think it's like 250 feet or something. I think after 200 feet, you start to get problems with Ethernet. At least older Ethernet, maybe newer Ethernet has fixed that. Good to see you again, good old boy. Thanks. Thanks, bro. We do have fiber down here, but not in my area, I guess. So. Beautiful Sunday, I guess. It's 100 meters. I guarantee you won't need a cable that long. I mean, you guarantee it? Game of Thrones feels soulless now. When did it have a soul? I don't know. I think people are a little too picky about Game of Thrones, honestly. It's like they've been screaming for fan service, and then now they've gotten it, and they're all pissed about it. I can agree with some of the critiques of the latest season of Game of Thrones, but I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be. I just think people are not exactly happy with how some of the plot lines are wrapping up and shit, but there's gonna be a prequel about the Mad King. Cool. That should be fun. Ouch. How often do you see people sitting in the bed of... What? How about Denver decriminalizing mushrooms? Yeah, that's really exciting, honestly. That's like a huge step in the right direction. I mean, we're still like working out the legal weed situation in America, and Denver's like, let's step it up. Let's get the ball rolling on these psychedelics too. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, it's a huge step in the right direction. Hopefully it leads to, legal cultivation of psilocybin and eventually the legal sale of it. Will people still be talking about Game of Thrones in a decade or two? I mean, you'll probably still hear it referenced, but it won't be like it is now. I mean, look at any of these other big shows that have gotten big for a while. Like Sex and the City was huge for a while. Everybody was watching that. Now you barely hear anybody mention it. Seinfeld was the biggest TV show in the world for the longest time, and now it's just, referenced every once in a while. So that's more than likely what you'll see happen with Game of Thrones. It'll become one of those shows that the people that have seen it will reference it and compare it to other shows and stuff. You'll hear it every once in a while, but it's not going to remain like... It's not going to remain like this super, useful thing. Hiya, gorgeous. Hey, thanks for the $5. I don't know how I feel about getting hit on, but thanks for the $5 anyway. George is waiting to finish his books after he sees how people react. He has the power of the three-eyed crow now. Oh, yeah? I mean, do you blame him? Do you blame him? My friend and I are high, and we love you. Hey, good for you, too. Don't make out. That'll happen sometimes, I wouldn't take DMT. I'm not a big fan of lockdown psychedelic trips. I like to be somewhat in the driver's seat. George is lazy and afraid of audience expectation. Wouldn't be surprised if he never finished. I don't know about that. Yeah, 10 or 20 minutes is an eternity. Don't let the it wears off in 10 or 20 minutes shit convince you that you'd be cool to do it. 10 or 20 minutes when you're locked in a psychological trip can feel like 10 or 20 days. Like your perception of time is completely wonky, and like I said, 10 or 20 minutes can be an excruciating amount of time. So I wouldn't just run headlong into a DMT trip because you think it's, you know, fine to do because it's over in 20 minutes. I might be wrong, but you took shrooms, right? That doesn't put you at the driver's seat, right? Yes, it does. Yeah. Any guides for shrooms? Yeah, go to Google. I hate it when people come to me for like drug advice and shit, like I'm some kind of like a drug counselor. Go to Google. Look things up. Use this amazing tool with tons of fucking information around. Don't be asking me stupid shit. Would you or have you ever taken Quaaludes? I've never even seen a Quaalude, man. Those things are like a unicorn now. My parents used to take Quaaludes. I've talked to my mom about popping ludes a couple of times back in the, you know, the 70s and the 80s when you could get them. Keep in mind, the only drugs I've done are alcohol and caffeine, so you take my opinion with a grain of you. Yeah. Ooh. Is that what they called uppers and downers? They had a bunch of names for Quaaludes. Like a bunch of names. When's the next shroom trip? I don't know. Probably the next time I go to Denver. Another Quaalude and she'll love me in the morning. Another Quaalude and she'll love me in the morning. LV, I was only kidding. I've got multiple drugs, man. Nicotine, caffeine, THC, alcohol, DMT, DLT, WBLT. I got them all, man. I got all the acronyms. I do all the acronyms, man. I do them all. Why does caffeine count as a drug? It's a stimulant that you put into your body that changes your perception slightly. Probably. Has something to do with it. How's a nicotine high feel like? I wish I could remember. Yeah, you only get like a nicotine buzz when you first start smoking. That's how it gets you. You get a nice little like calm, mellowed out head change, and then that just completely goes away. Like once you're a nicotine addict, you just have to hit it to feel normal. That sucks. Caffeine is essential for my existence. You're not alone. You're not alone. All you gotta do is look at a place like Starbucks. Just constantly slammed out. People deal with that shit. They can't deal without it. Sugar kind of qualifies as a drug since it can be more addictive. I'm sure, yeah. Love the last episode of DFF. I have Asperger and was not offended by it at all. Yeah, I didn't think that most people would be offended by it. I think that we gave a pretty tongue-in-cheek look at it with some actual facts about it, and we tried to talk about it like it actually exists for some of the show, you know, so. Hey, Paul, I turn 21 tomorrow. What do you recommend to get drunk but not pass out right away? Thanks. Get drunk but not pass out right away. I mean, you probably want to stay with some, like, drink more of something that's got less alcohol in it. It's like beer or wine, probably. If you're not a big drinker, just stay away from taking shots. That's the death of many a 21st birthday party is lining up to take shots with people. That'll get you in trouble quicker than anything. I mean, anytime that I've been so drunk that I wished I wasn't drunk, it has been on liquor. So If you date a girl who eats boiled eggs, sure. I got no problem with a boiled egg. I've never enjoyed shots. I can't even taste certain liquors. I like shots. I'll take a shot or two. What was the most impatient customer you ever had to deal with? I don't remember. It's been a long time since I dealt directly with customers, so I don't know. What's the point of drinking if you're not actually enjoying it? You sure as shit are not going to the next day. What? Oh, going to the next day. Yeah. Well, I mean, hangovers are completely avoidable, and no matter how much you drink. That's a common misconception that, like, one of the punishments for drinking is the hangover. The hangover is a choice. If you want to have a hangover, all you have to do is drink a bunch of alcohol and then don't drink water before you go to sleep on it. The alcohol in your system will slowly but surely dehydrate you, and you'll wake up with a splitting headache and feeling sick from dehydration. If, on the other hand, you drink as much as you want, and then before you collapse into bed, you chug a glass of water, you'll wake up in the morning feeling fine. The Florida man might strike at any moment. I hope not. I hope not. Do weed hangovers exist? No. Do you think smell-o-vision will ever be invented? Maybe. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Yeah, smell-o-vision seems like it might be possible. What will be the drugs of the future to trip on? I don't know, man. I can't help you with that. They say a hangover comes from withdrawals and dehydration. When it comes to alcohol, unless you're an alcoholic, it's likely not withdrawals. Like, for an alcoholic, you might wake up with withdrawal symptoms, minor though they may be. But the symptoms of a hangover, the headache, the sick stomach, all of that, the inability to eat the next day, all of that is dehydration. And all you got to do is drink water to stop that. Yeah, the whole hangover thing has always been so silly to me. I learned at a very, very young age the way to dodge a hangover, and I've never, like, I probably had 5 hangovers in my life that are bad enough to note, where I got so drunk that I just forgot to drink water or whatever. And then you wake up and you realize, like, I've earned this. Like, I was stupid. I could have just chugged some water last night and I'd feel fine today. Paul, with the way the economy is right now, and you believe starting an online business is a good course of action to take? I don't fucking know. I don't know, dude. Isn't another way to dodge it is to eat something with salt? No. If you eat a bunch of salty shit right before you go to bed, you're going to dehydrate yourself worse. Greasy food after a hangover has always helped me. Yeah, I really don't like, that's like trying to mitigate a hangover after you have one. I'm talking about stopping a hangover before you get it. You know what I mean? I don't really know. I don't know a whole lot of hangover remedies because, like I said, in my 38 years, I've probably had 5 of them. Wine is the worst, especially cheap wine, to hangover off of. The worst hangover I ever had was off of wine. So, worst hangover I ever had, ended up leaving work and just crying in your car. That sounds about right. Do you think CBD is a good natural alternative for anxiety other than medication? Google. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, dude. I don't know. I had a hangover that lasted 3 days plus bad anxiety. If you had a hangover that lasted 3 days, you probably had the flu or something, man. You probably didn't have a hangover. I'm gonna go ahead and guess. Maybe you caught like a bug off of somebody when you were out drinking. You took a sip of somebody's drink, they had the flu. Yeah, there's no such thing as a 3-day hangover, bro. When I go out, I drink wine, but I drink the same amount of water with it than a large cup before I go to sleep. That's a good idea. Wow, is this the how to dodge a hangover episode, I guess? Yeah, I never feel bad for people with hangovers. There's just no need. They done did it to themselves. You gotta want to be sick to have a hangover. Pretty much. Do you like scotch? No, I don't like scotches or bourbons or whiskeys at all. I don't drink that kind of alcohol. I'm you know, I'll drink vodka, I'll drink tequila, mezcal. Trying to think what other types of alcohol I'll indulge in. Pretty much anything that isn't a bourbon. Hell yeah, I'd try ayahuasca. It's one of the things I want to do. But I want the full shaman experience, dude. I don't want some like hippy dippy trippy LA ayahuasca experience. I want to go down to South America and have a medicine man put me in a sweat lodge and give me the full, you know, the full business. Rum? Yeah, I'd drink rum. You need to do it in a forest with some natives. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to go to the jungle and like sit in like a thatched sweat lodge and just have the whole experience. The guided ayahuasca experience. What do you think moonshine is? I honestly don't know. I know there's different kinds of moonshine. I mean, moonshine is just home-stilled alcohol. So moonshine can be any kind of alcohol. Paul wants to go full altered states. No, I don't. Why would you do that but not DMT when it's the same thing? Because it's different. It's got a whole different, like there's a whole tradition to it. I don't want to just be sitting in my apartment and having a DMT trip. If I'm going to do it, I want to go do it with a shaman. In a sweat lodge out in the jungle somewhere. I want to connect with my spirit animal, you know? That's how I want it done if I'm going to do it. And if I'm not going to do it, then I'm not going to do it. End of discussion. Paul took the DMT. I did. Want to know about moonshine? I don't. I don't. You want to know about moonshine. Watching people have crazy salvia trips is always hilarious. Yeah, it's also a good primer for how not to experiment with lockdown psychedelics. What would you want your... I have a spirit animal. It's the blobfish, the humble blobfish. Someone just walked behind me. Cool. Maybe they'll kill me, put me out of my misery. So are you still bitching about the community bridge in the Minecraft server? No. No, it was a community mine shaft, not a community bridge. But yeah, I started playing Minecraft with some people on the Discord server, and I set up my little house and shit, and they told me that the rules of the server were like, you know, just you can go into people's houses and look around, but just don't fuck with anything. So I started, I dug this really crappy little house, basically underneath Ashley's house. And I decided, you know what, I want to dig like a long mine shaft with some, you know, a mine cart on it that'll take me far away to some other biome or something so that I can build some shit out away from people. And I started working on that. And then when I didn't log in for a day or two. And when I came back, literally everybody on the server was in the basement of my house working on the tunnel, expanding it, making it a different thing, connecting it to other people's houses and shit. And I was just like, fuck this, I'm done. Like, if anybody else was in anybody else's house changing things around, people would be bitching. But for some reason, my house is community property over there. It's like, no. Sorry. So, yeah. I just hit the eject. Ashley got a download of it, like the server, so I can keep working on it if I want, but just a shame. You can't play with people. Like that's really like multiplayer game is dead. Multiplayer non-competitive gaming is long dead, and even competitive multiplayer gaming is just dead now. It's like you can't. The game is not enough for people. You know, like in this example that I'm talking about here, it wasn't enough that everybody had a theoretically infinite world to explore and build on. It had to be my tiny little patch of that everybody was interested in fucking with. So I probably should have expected it, honestly. I kind of did going in. I was like, this isn't going to last long. People are going to fuck with my shit just because I'm here. But it wasn't even that. They were trying to help. They thought they were being helpful by rearranging everything that I built. And it's like, have fun with it. Have fun with it. Yeah, I just told you that they were trying to help. But I don't find having all the work that I did completely changed helpful. I don't find that having something that I built for my use and for other people to play around in if they want to and have it completely changed into something else, I don't consider that helpful. And honestly, that's the rules of the server. I didn't make that up. When I joined the server, I was told, like, yeah, you can go walk around in people's houses, you can check things out, you can go chill, you can do whatever you want, just don't build in people's houses. Sorry. Like, I was enjoying digging that tunnel by myself. Like, for me, when I play the stupid games like these creative games like Minecraft, I get a sense of accomplishment when I dig a big tunnel myself, you know, and I get it done myself. And everybody else there, like, I'm sure maybe some of them asked people for help, but I didn't ask anybody to add on to my shit. And they didn't just add on to it, they changed it. I went down into my basement, and instead of like a group of stairs that went down directly to my fucking minecart shaft, there was a blank wall and a hole in the ground. I had to go down a fucking ladder to get to my, I was like, I'm done. Just done. Waste of my time. Is that Minecraft thing dead now? It's not dead. People are still playing it. A bunch of people are still on that server. I'm just not. Favorite fast food value menu items? I'm not even going to entertain that question. That's just a stupid non sequitur of a question right now. You heard of alternative R&B? No. Game of Thrones has become the most disappointing show of all time. Wow. What am I drinking? Vitamin water. 0 calorie per serving vitamin water. This is acai blueberry pomegranate. Triple X. It has antioxidant vitamin C. It has vitamin B5, B6, and B12, manganese, and antioxidant vitamin A, and electrolytes. I'm built like a hen? Cool. Bacog! Yeah, we just got the Sam's Club pack ourselves. I usually don't, you know, whatever, but it was on sale. Had to buy it, it was on sale. I appreciate you, Peaches. Well, thanks, man. Where's the door behind you go? To hell. Go straight to hell. Lane Staley is better than Kurt Cobain in your fucking dreams. Sorry. Do the truffle shuffle. Okay. There you go. Wonder if he liked it. Wonder if he enjoyed the truffle shuffle as much as he thought he was going to. Paul reminds me of Hammond/Wrecking Ball from Overwatch, except Paul is cuter. Man. I'm having another moment, man. I'm having another end this stream and delete it moment. Because the pop culture references just keep coming fast and furious. And I feel like that's all we're going to talk about today is Game of Thrones and whatever popular video game people are playing. Very, 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 very terrible. What do you want to talk about then? That's not my job. That's you guys' job. I'm here to talk about what you want to talk about. And on days where you want to talk about nothing but Twitter clickbait and shit, it doesn't make me want to talk all that much. I don't have any plans for dinner. When you look back at DFF, which episode do you feel like you learned the most from? I don't know. I've done over 120, I think, episodes now. That's like you can't expect me to have a Rolodex that I can flip through and go like, this one here was the one I learned the most. I don't know. I'm past the point now where I can look at the shows in totality. It's like a seasonal thing, honestly, now. Like, I can remember season 2 better than season 1. Let's put it that way. Year 1 is basically a blur to me. I remember maybe 1 or 2 things that we covered in that first year. Year 2, I might be able to remember some. I learned Paul really hates spam. Oh, yeah. I just hate people that are, like, sitting there empty-headed just typing the same thing over and over again. Like, for me, that's like the ultimate waste of time. The ultimate non-participation. Paul, why don't you write a book? I think you have enough interesting stories. I'm working on I guess a manuscript for a book or whatever now. It's a slow process, but it's something that I work on in my free time. Do you think social media has ruined relationships between people? Obviously. I mean, do I even need to say yes to that as an opinion? Do you think it's better to have a conversation face-to-face with somebody and to know that person? And so to be able to quantify that person's value in your life versus talking to someone you don't even know is who they say they are. 100%. Talk about your genitals on the internet. Mr. Naughty Priest, please. You're insane, sir. Getting ready for work, but I'm listening. And if the salt level gets too high, I'll run over and start dropping nukes. Yeah, dude. Yeah, see? Dropping the nukes. Some people spam because they're lonely and need attention. That's sad. A lot of people don't value face-to-face interaction because they've hardly experienced it. That's a shame, and that's exactly the point that I make when I say, do you really need to ask if social media has ruined human interaction? Like, is that even a question that needs to be thrown out there? Yes. It has 100% ruined human interaction. It has 100% changed the national conversation from something that might have been useful to something that's utterly co-opted. Yes, it's ruined it. It's ruined your ability to organize, which is interesting because one of the things that the internet was theorized to allow to do was to allow people to organize on an unprecedented level, but it's degenerated to the point now where organization doesn't even happen, and people are locked into this cycle of like slacktivism, basically, where they see a problem, they retweet something about it, and they feel like they've done their point, their part. It's exactly what the quote unquote powers that be want. They want a cowed populace that is willing to hand over their protest to an endless stream of other protests just like it that are totally meaningless. And there is absolutely no denying that a significant chunk of people that are active on social media feel a sense of accomplishment when they retweet something or reblog something or post something to their Facebook page. They feel they've raised awareness. They feel they've made a step towards changing things for the good. But in actuality, they've done nothing. And you ask me if I think that social media has ruined human interaction? Isn't the answer to that question fucking blatantly obvious to you? I'm being honest. You guys are by and large way younger than I am. Isn't it blatantly obvious to you that dealing with somebody who is lying about their past, lying about their personality, lying about who they are, and arguing from bad faith is not the same as sitting down with a neighbor or a group of people that you can look in the eye? I don't even understand why it's a question, to be honest with you. That question pissed me off. Like, are you really that oblivious? Are you so oblivious that you have to ask whether or not social media has ruined your ability to interact with people? The answer is yes. Obviously it has. And until we get past the, is social media a negative thing? Like, that's where we're locked in now. That's what activism is now. That's what change is now. It's going, maybe it is. I don't know. I don't want to make a call. Time to make a call. I think a lot of people don't remember they never knew a time before social media. That's why you get questions like that. It's a fucking shame. If we're going to talk about social media, let's also just go and bring up women's rights. Why? I'll bring up a banning right for you if you post another nonsensical fucking non sequitur. How's that? We can talk about banning rights. I mean, the early world during MySpace was fine. MySpace, like I remember when like social media first came out, it was exactly what people are talking about, like a thing to keep in touch with your friends and stuff, and to have like this ongoing conversation with the people that you knew. And then it expanded for some reason to not just people that you knew, but people that you've met. And then it expanded beyond that to people that you've never even seen face to face are now part of that conversation. And when you get to that point, the chances that you're dealing with somebody that's actually engaging in that conversation in good faith quickly reach zero. And what you're doing is, where before you were sharing your thoughts and opinions and conversations with people that you know, people that you actually brush into in your real life, so you can continue that conversation, and it's been replaced with just an endless group of faceless people, most of which probably aren't who they say they are. That's what it's become. Was born in 1993 and just barely remember a time when people weren't as absorbed into the internet. Yeah, I mean, I was born in 1980, and you know, I definitely lived during that time. But as I get older, it gets harder and harder to remember what that was like. You know, it's like a I don't know. It's like an old dream now. It's starting to fade around the edges for me. You think Arya Stark represents breaking away? Let's get out of here. Are we talking about fucking art? Here we go. Here goes a non-sequitur ban. Like, quit trying to bring things back to fucking Game of Thrones. We're in the middle of a conversation. Fucking idiot. Get out of here. I remember the early 2000s. Well, still, it wasn't so bad then either. Yeah, it took a while to get to the point we're at now. I'd say that this really locked in around like 2008, 2009, when people just stopped socializing and started interneting. Yeah. I'd say that's when it really started in earnest. Damn, Slow Norris. Yeah, that one's not coming back again, by the way. I've unbanned you like 3 times, I think. 3 strikes and you're out. Create a new account or get the fuck out. Born in 98, only when I was a little internet. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever, who cares? Yeah, I think maybe that's, like, when I start to feel like this about Highdeology, that it's populated by people who are either fucking too empty-headed to have a normal conversation, or people who are trying to lead the conversation down a boring, stupid, derivative road. It's basically like, you know, Cult of Dusty's show, reading his Twitter. Then I need to start printing it. For sure. People that ask stupid fucking questions that have been asked a million times. People that are just like obsessed with one topic, that keep trying to non sequitur into another fucking topic. Ban, ban, ban. Time to trim the tree again, I guess. Yeah, what's your favorite video game? What's your favorite song? What's your favorite food? All that shit. All that, like, this is like a speed dating service, and you just sat down in front of me and we've got 30 seconds to get to know each other shit. That's a ban. That's 100% a ban from here on out. We'll get it trimmed down. We'll get it to a point where I can actually fucking have a conversation with some somewhat adults around here. Where am I from? I'm from Central California. Where are you from? Let's just do the speed dating thing. Let's just do it. Remember social media being promoted mostly because of the ease of use and accessibility to communications. It seems that has led us to trivializing conversation. I don't even really think it led us to it. I think we just allowed it to be co-opted. We allowed it to go from something where when somebody posted something on your page, you knew that person. You saw that person. You've shaken that person's hand. You've looked into that person's eyes. You've had a conversation with that person in real life. It's gone from that to now corporations are creating people to pretend to be people that are really advertisements or agents attempting to change the narrative or falsely prop up a narrative and make it look like it's more popular than it is. You don't even know. When you get into an interaction on Twitter and somebody that you've never met pops into your Twitter and responds to you, you don't even know if that's a person. I want to underscore that. When you are talking to somebody on Twitter that you've never met, you don't know that that's a person that you're talking to. You don't know that it's a real person with a real name and a real job, or a group of corporate people who have been hired to create a social media presence, or a group of government operatives that have been hired to create a social media presence that pushes a narrative or buries another one. There's literally nothing you can do to even verify that the time that you're spending engaging in conversation, argument, or debate with somebody is time spent actually arguing with a human being. I feel like I want to say that again. There is no way for you to tell that when you are wasting your time having a conversation or a debate with somebody that you're actually talking to a human. That's the state of social media now. There are probably more alt and bot accounts meant to twist the narrative than there are genuine accounts with a person sitting behind them. In fact, that take probably out of that sentence. There are now currently more accounts on the internet that are made with bad faith purposes in mind, to spin the narrative, to troll, whatever you want to call it, than there are legitimate people on the internet. And you ask me if you think it's a problem? Yes, it's a problem. It's not just a problem, it's an apocalyptic problem. You see, the only hope we have is organization as a people. The only hope that we have is that when shit gets so bad that people aren't willing to put up with it anymore, we have each other. We can get together as a people and petition the government for a redress of our grievance. Not anymore. Not anymore. Because for every one dude genuinely trying to organize some kind of a protest, there are 15 bad faith actors out there trying to stop it, trying to talk people out of it, trying to paint it as a failure. Sorry, guys. The answer, delete social media. Sorry, that's not an answer. That might be a personal answer for you, and I don't begrudge you doing it. I've certainly thought about doing it a bunch of times, but if you think that solves the problem, you're wrong. If you think you just separating yourself from social media solves the problem that I was just talking about in terms of organization, you're wrong. That just puts you at the mercy of everybody else. Once again, most of them not even being real citizens of this country. Not even being real people with real names and real lives behind what they're talking about, real positions. Those don't exist anymore, man. If you don't personally know somebody you're talking to on the internet, you're not even having a conversation anymore. Do you think that AR could allow for a virtual face-to-face, and do you think that that could solve the problem or make it worse? Only if there's some kind of a regulation that, you know, I've been talking about this quite a bit lately, just in my personal life, the idea, you know, and I know we've talked about it here before, but the idea of like a 2-account solution. One publicly viewable account with all of your personal information, a picture of you, your name, your age, your state of residence on it, that everybody can see if they click on it, and one anonymous account that you can use for unpopular speech, saying things that you genuinely believe, but you're afraid due to the social climate to have appended to your name, and that's it. You got one real account that you can use on social media. You got one anonymous account that you can use on social media. Not 50, not 100, not 1,000,000 to come back and back and back after people block you. You got one. You got one chance. So you want to use your you know, whatever, your anonymous account to just troll and spurg out and spam shit. You've got fully the right to do that still. You want to just spam the N-word in people's chats and stuff and be a total asshole. You can totally do that now. But once I click on you and go block, your choice is to log on to your account that's connected to your real identity or to go the fuck away. And see, this is just a small part of the problem. This is just dealing with like making sure that you can have a conversation with a real human being in good faith. That's actually the small part of this problem. The big part of this problem is foreign governments and corporations manipulating the narrative to affect policy, which also stops with a 2-account solution. Now, ExxonMobil can't create 10,000 Twitter accounts to upvote everything that Exxon says and downvote everybody that's against Exxon. ExxonMobil doesn't even get a Twitter account anymore. You see what I'm saying? They're not a person. Now, if ExxonMobil's CEO wants to have a Twitter account and shill for Exxon, he can do that. But no more of these non-entities floating around there having conversations with us. There's absolutely no path forward for humanity to a brighter future if we can't even tell if we're having a conversation with a real, genuine human being with a real, genuine opinion, or a corporation trying to sell us something, or a government trying to affect policy. There's no way. There's no path forward for us as a species if we don't establish that simple fact. When I sit down to engage with somebody in a conversation online, I'm talking to a real person. If we can't establish that simple fact, we may as well just leave the internet. We may as well just leave it. It's the next home shopping channel, if that's what you want. I heard recently that only 10% of social media users account for over 80% of the posts and tweets. That's insane. That's an insane number. Is social media really to blame then, or is humanity the problem? Maybe all it takes us to break apart is a website. Then let's just bring on I don't know. I mean, humanity created social media. It's not some outside alien force. So I think the answer to that question is pretty obvious. Why do you think scumbags and scumbag behavior are so rewarded in this culture? I don't know that I really feel like scumbag behavior is overall rewarded in this culture. I think that there's just different levels of it that are acceptable. Personal scumbag behavior is probably called out harder than any time in history right now. Like, if I slipped up and did something wrong, there'd be a million people out there waiting to fucking hand me my ass. So I really don't think that that's the problem. I just think that the silly, distracting interpersonal drama eclipses the actual rape that's going on by, the wealthy, the owner class, the corporations. Do you think it's part of human nature to seek distraction and isolation when possible, or a new development? No. I mean, there have always been people that sought distraction and isolation. Here's the thing. These corporations and technology companies in particular that are designing these tools that we're using, the cell phones, the social media apps, all of this shit, they're students of psychology. They're not just throwing something out there like putting a worm on a hook and throwing it out there and hoping people bite. They know your mind. They know how your mind works. They know what it seeks out. They know what tickles its pleasure centers and what turns it off. And they're designing things to engage you on that level. They're not just throwing this out there and hoping you think it's cool. They're throwing something out there that's meant to scratch the itch in your brain. So there's not this idea that social media is just a tool that we used incorrectly is wrong. It's been designed to be how it is. See, that's the scariest part of all of this. This isn't just a weird human experiment that went down a road that we didn't think of. This is by design. It is by design that you don't know who you're talking to anymore. It is by design that your opinion is buried by bots and bad faith actors. It is by design that you can't find a real, genuine human being on the internet anymore. That's the design. That's not just some weird thing that we've messed up about social media. It is designed to be this way. It is designed to be manipulative. It is designed to make you feel apart from other people and to push you away. It's designed to foment conflict between people over silly shit. %. And if you believe that this is all just a big old accident or an experiment that went away nobody expected, then you're stupid. This is all by design. Thanks, Tucker. I was so disappointed by the Democrats when they put their shoulders against Biden after he decided not to run that I had much. Why would you have any faith in the Democrats? You're perusing on the wrong places then. You're right, dude. There's definitely a special place you can go. Thank you, Michael Bell. That's very nice of you. Bots used to be minuscule a few years back. Now they're too much. They're more common than actual people. I was reading an article, what was it, like a month or two ago, that was estimating that there are 3 bots for every real person on most social media websites. Something like that. 3 alt accounts or bots that aren't actually being run by a person. It's over. It's over. It's been over. See, group psychology is different from individual psychology too, and that's another area that's really, really heavily preyed upon in the social media sphere. This idea that it makes you feel like you're part of something, right? So you go to social media and you're not just Paul Parkey. And here's my opinion. You've got to find the group of social media users that you feel you fit in with. So you're just kind of acquiescing to being grouped in with other people. You're immediately categorized with other people as soon as you start speaking up. Oh, this guy's like this, or this guy's like that. You're thrown into the mix with other people. There's no individuality anymore. There's no room for it. You're immediately herded as soon as you get onto social media into your little ideological group, and that's where you stay. And you lob, missiles over at the other ideological group, and they lodge social media missiles back at you. Of course, paid trolls, bots, all of them are involved, stoking the fires on both sides, and you're taking part in something that you feel like is a real crusade. You feel like you're really out there trying to change people's minds. You're really out there trying to deliver opinion, but really it's just you and a cloud of bots and a couple of other dunderheads being led around by a fucking leash and a collar, acting exactly how they want you to act, bitching at each other, fighting amongst each other while they run out the back door with a sack of money. That's the plan. That's always been the plan. And if you don't see it, I don't know what to tell you. It's a distraction. And look how well it's working. Look how well it's working. Look how many people care about stupid social media garbage like Pro Jared cheating on his wife. The entire fucking planet is literally burning. And all social media can talk about is a dude that cheated on his wife. It's not news if it's an ongoing problem. You just want to live your whole life stressed out about something you can literally do nothing about. Okay. Que sera, sera, man. I love it. I love the little lies that people will tell to themselves to feel like they've got something like an overview and some measure of control of their future. Like that guy. It's your choice, man. All you gotta do is be like me, man. I've got the overview. I don't waste my time doing none of that. Yeah, problem still exists though, doesn't it? Hilarious. Humans are overconfident in their own abilities. That's an understatement. That's the understatement of the show so far. Understatement of the show. A lot of mouth breathers in chat today, sure. I did photography at a wedding yesterday. A kid did a Fortnite dance after catching the garter. I think I was the only one that noticed the sin. Ugh. What you're saying is difficult to refute, which is why I like listening to these. Have my 5 shekels. Hey, thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. I don't think social media is what damages our society. It's when we lost the element of living and working as part of a community, which is something hard-coded into most people's tribal nature. That's been gone for a long time, man. This, like, I am an island unto myself mentality, at least in America, has existed since I was a kid and probably way before it. I mean, it's definitely gotten worse. You're less connected. You're less connected with your neighborhood than you were when I was a kid, guaranteed. You don't know the people that you live around as much. There's no sense of community. That is pretty much all but winked out in most of America. There might be some little bedroom communities that are still like that, but most small neighborhoods used to be like that now. And nowadays, you don't know who you're living next door to. There's no sense of community. It's stay off of my property. You see that curb over there? That's the border of my property. You see that grass? Don't put your foot on it. Don't put your dog on it. Don't walk on my grass. Don't sit under my tree. My property. Mine. You go over there in your little cubicle and you live in your property. I'm in my little cubicle over here. This is mine. There's no sense of commonality. There's no sense of common destiny anymore. There's no sense of sharing or caring about your community anymore. It's just gone. It's just gone. It's been removed in favor of this, what we're doing here, this fucking weird pantomime. Saw the Autism DFF episode. How do you think social media affects them as high functioning? I don't like it because I can't hear the person's tone. Well, you're not alone there. I mean, I'm not on the spectrum, but I have the same problem. That's one of the problems. I mean, you can't replace face-to-face interaction. There's so much that goes into human interaction that's nonverbal. Nonverbal communication is something like 60% of communicating. 60% of human communication is nonverbal. It's body language, facial expression, tone of voice. All of that stuff is incredibly important. Nonverbal is 88%. Well, thanks for the correction. So 88% of common human interaction is impossible on the internet. Think about that. 88% of what allows you to look at a person and size them up and size up their intentions is gone on the internet. Impossible. I have Asperger's, and I also have a hard time understanding the message a person is trying to get across. That's not just you. That's not just you. Like I said, I'm not on the spectrum. I have that same fucking problem on the internet. It's impossible to tell what's attempted satire, what's a joke, what's real, what's serious.